Hey, what is up everyone? It's been a while since I've made a Sea of Thieves video, or any video for that matter, on this channel. And I actually had a completely different video in mind for like my first video back after taking a little bit of a break. But then yesterday they announced something that sparked my interest that I think was a little bit weird and had me thinking about a situation that I talked about a year ago in a completely new light. And I thought for my first video back it was a good time to dive into this topic. Real quick though, in case anyone was interested, the reason I took a break and I didn't really announce it is I actually just moved in, I bought a new house. I actually have a few video ideas in mind that I might be doing soon involving the new house, so you might see that in a couple of videos coming soon. But regardless, that's why, I've been gone for a little bit, hoping to get back more into the flow of making videos, and just in time for a pretty decent sized April update for Season 15, and then obviously we have Season 16 next month. So lots to come for Sea of Thieves, but the news that we got yesterday is interesting and I really wanted to talk about it. So, Sea of Thieves is coming to Battle.net. Now, Battle.net is basically like another online store on the PC. I don't know if it's anywhere else. I'm assuming it's just a PC only thing. Similar to how we have Steam and the Epic Store. I always just view Battle.net as being kind of like a launcher for Blizzard games. And if you don't know already, Microsoft, which is the parent company of Rare for Sea of Thieves, bought Activision Blizzard a few years ago. So it makes sense that they would bring this over there. Honestly, though, I'm kind of surprised that they don't just get rid of Battle.net because they already have their own Microsoft store that you'd think they'd want to put all of this in under one umbrella. But instead, they're going the complete opposite route. And the real thing I want to talk about in this video is some of the exclusive stuff that's coming with this Battle.net version. I don't really care in general that it's coming to Battle.net being another platform. I think that's fine. In my mind, when I saw this announcement, I didn't really get the big deal of it. When the game came to Steam, that was a big deal because most PC gamers enjoy playing their games on Steam. Not me, I'm actually like the Microsoft Store version better than the Steam version, and I'm perfectly happy with keeping the Windows Xbox version that I have. But there definitely was a group of people that either would not play Sea of Thieves on PC because it wasn't on Steam, or they were already playing on PC through the Windows version, but would much prefer the Steam version. I don't really see that being a thing with the Battle.net version. I could be completely wrong, but I have a feeling if you have Battle.net, you probably also have Steam, and everyone has access to the Windows Store, so you've had options to play Sea of Thieves for years now, so I really don't get the need to go to Battle.net as a new platform. And they also are viewing this as a separate platform and not just a different store. That's the other weird thing to me, because it made sense when we talked about like Xbox being a platform, PlayStation being a platform, and then PC being a platform, whereas PC was kind of viewed as both Windows and Steam together. Whereas now they're kind of breaking that with Battle.net being considered its own platform. That's what they said multiple times in the blog post, which I'll try to remember to have linked in the description if you want to check it out. There's not much to go over with the actual blog post, but if you're curious about it, you can go see it in there. So that gives you a little bit of background on what's going on here. The Battle.net version of Sea of Thieves will be releasing on May 22nd, which is the same day that Season 16 launches. So very similar to how they did the PlayStation release last year, where it released with Season 12, and it was kind of their way of bringing everyone in. So that's interesting. I don't know if there's going to be any early access like they did for the PlayStation version. There might be, but I didn't see anything that says that. But to get into what I really want to talk about, there's exclusive cosmetics both for just buying the Battle.net version of the game, as well as pre-ordering it. Now, we had this happen, obviously, when Sea of Thieves first released. We had pre-order exclusives that were released with it, which is the Ebon set with like the flintlock and some of the Black Dog cosmetics and that kind of stuff. So we're used to that. With the PlayStation release last year, we had a handful of exclusives that came with that, such as, I don't remember the name of them. I think it was like a Ruby Parrot or something. You had like one of the Dauntless Sails, I think. And then you had some weapon cosmetics, which I'll show some video from last year when I did a review on that as the background for this, where you can see them. And these were all great cosmetics. Something that was really frustrating with those cosmetics though is I bought the PlayStation version, one, because I wanted to have those exclusives. I wanted to be able to see them, review them, show them off for y'all, things like that. but also just because I had a PlayStation and it would be nice to be able to go from my PC and play on the couch if I wanted to, or go from the couch to the PC, just kind of having that basically Sea of Thieves is everywhere I want to play. The problem that I had last year, and if you remember back then when I made that video talking about it, the cosmetics that you got from the PlayStation specific cosmetics that you got, were locked down so you could only use them on the PlayStation. So for someone like me that plays on PC, I used to play on Xbox, I'm playing on PlayStation now as well, I cannot use the cosmetics that I like, that I bought on the PlayStation on my PC. And there's some cosmetics from the PC that I can't use on the PlayStation. I was already upset about this last year when this happened, but honestly, when this happened back then, I really thought that this was a Sony PlayStation rule. Like they made some kind of arrangement where like they only want their specific stuff on their console. It can't be shared with Xbox or Microsoft or whatever like that. And I really just assumed that. I thought, Rare just took some crummy deal to get whatever favors they needed from PlayStation for, the release. Turns out, this seems like now with the context of what happened with this update for BattleNet, this was all on Rare. They purposely wanted these to be locked down to certain platforms and could not be used on other platforms. So the reason I didn't really care too much to discuss it and really harp on it last year is because I thought it was PlayStation that was making this rule. No, this was all on Rare, this was all on Microsoft making these decisions. So it's happened again with this BattleNet release. The BattleNet one has actually, I think, in some ways better cosmetics than what we got with the PlayStation release, even though the PlayStation release did come with a bird that I really like and an outfit for the bird. So take it what you will, it depends on what you're interested in. But with this BattleNet release, comes with 5 exclusive sales that are inspired by different Blizzard type stuff. I don't really recognize a lot of them. I recognize the BattleNet one in the middle here, and then I obviously recognize the Overwatch one on the far left. And I think that might be World of Warcraft on the very far right, but I don't really recognize a lot of these. Let me know in the comments below if you do. But I think all these sales look pretty cool. Other than the Overwatch one, I think that's a little bit bland, but the other ones I think, fit in pretty well with the Sea of Thieves look and aesthetic. And then the thing that I really like and I really wish I could use, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but I think it's called Cobalt Crystal weapons, which is basically just a blue variant of the Obsidian Ebon weapons that we got with the pre-order for the original Sea of Thieves release, as well as the variant of it that we got for the PlayStation release. This variant that's like all kind of the blue and black together, I really like. And I would definitely use these. But even if I, decided, okay, I will buy the BattleNet version of the game, even though I already have it on the PC, you can't use the cosmetics on any of your other accounts. It's locked down to only using it on BattleNet. I really do not understand the idea behind this. Part of like the whole Xbox motto with like the Play Anywhere initiative and just, live services in general where you have a cross-platform account is that your cosmetics are tied to your account, not tied to the platform you're playing on. There should be no reason why I can't use the same cosmetics on my PC that I use on my PlayStation or on my phone if you're using like xCloud or something, or on the Xbox, and maybe even on the Nintendo Switch too, which I was gonna think about talking about that in a video, but I'd rather just wait to see if they actually officially announce something. I have a feeling that Switch 2 could probably run it, just probably not that great. But there's no reason why these cosmetics should be locked down. All of these cosmetics should be able to be used across all the different platforms. Alright, so quick little edit. I made this video on Monday night, and then today, when I was about to post it, I noticed that they released some more information about these exclusive cosmetics. And since this whole video is about these exclusive cosmetics and how my thoughts are on them, it only felt right that I needed to go back in and re-edit this video so that y'all can hear this part. So basically they released this chart and they clarified that the BattleNet cosmetics that are coming out are going to be able to be used on Xbox, Windows, Steam, and BattleNet. So basically the only cosmetics that are locked down are the PlayStation 5 cosmetics. However, all of these Xbox ones So the ones from the original pre-order release, or say these new exclusives from the Battle.net stuff, these can only be used on everything except for PS5. It's a very weird thing, and I talked in the video before when we didn't have this information that I thought like potentially this was a Sony issue, and then my thought was changed because they were doing the Battle.net thing, and now my thought is going back to the Sony ideas. Well, maybe this is a Sony issue, and for some reason they only want their cosmetics, and now Microsoft wants to have their own exclusive cosmetics on other platforms or something. All of this is very weird, but it does make me more interested in potentially buying the Battle.net version just to get these exclusive cosmetics, because you actually will be able to use them on the PC and Xbox if you play on Xbox. The only thing you can't really do is play on the PS5, so I'm still kind of in the same situation. This video isn't like a complete waste because I'm still against all of this. They have this little chart, and I'll try to show the chart on screen. This chart shouldn't exist. The cosmetics should just be available on all platforms, unless it's like what I mentioned in the video where it's very specific to that platform. Pretty much all of these, except for like the Battle.net sales, are interchangeable. You don't even really need to know like, oh, this came from this platform or this came from this platform. It doesn't really matter. Imagine if they did so that, say, like the Ferryman set, you could only use that Ferryman set if you were playing on the exclusive Sea of Thieves Xbox controller. We would all say that's pretty dumb. Like if you wanted to, play on controller and then you decide to start playing on keyboard and mouse, well, does that mean you don't get to use your Ferryman set anymore? I mean, it shouldn't matter what hardware you're playing on. The game is the same wherever you play it on. So all of this has been very confusing and annoying. I'm glad that they clarified it. I think that helps, especially clarifying it before pre-orders and stuff really started going forward more. But this shouldn't be an issue that we talk about at all. Alright, so that's my little edit. Let's jump back into the rest of what I had to say about this. Now, the only reason that I can really think that they would lock these down is so that players like myself aren't compelled to buy all these different versions. I don't really know why they would do that. I mean, that seems kind of, in a way, like a pro-consumer move, even though I don't think it's a pro-consumer move. But you could at least say that maybe they're trying not to pressure like veteran players like myself who already have maybe one or two different versions of the game to have to keep buying new versions just to get some cosmetics. But honestly, in some ways, these cosmetics, if they put them in the Pirate Emporium, it probably would even out to be the same as like the base version of Sea of Thieves anyways. So it's like, you basically be spending the same amount of money as if you were just to go spend that money inside the Pirate Emporium, which I already think is overpriced. Now, if these weren't locked down to the Battle.net platform, or the same thing with the PlayStation 1 and all that stuff, I personally probably would buy it just because I like having exclusive cosmetics, but it would be something that I probably wouldn't recommend for everyone. For me, I would probably make a video on it and try to make up a little bit of that lost money buying another version of the game. But I get the reason maybe to not incentivize a bunch of players keep buying different versions of the game. I don't really get why they would want to unincentivize people from spending money on their game, but I guess that could be a reason. I'd like to hear in the comments below if you think there's any other reason why they would lock down cosmetics to certain platforms. It doesn't really make sense to me. The only thing that I guess the other reason you could say potentially for locking stuff down is if it was going to be very platform specific cosmetics. The cosmetics that we're getting for all these different platform exclusives, like what we got last year for PlayStation or this time for Battle.net, don't really scream like, oh, I'm a PlayStation cosmetic, or oh, I'm a Battle.net cosmetic, except for maybe those Battle.net sales that are in the middle here. But like, if you gave like a sale last year that was like a PlayStation logo, I get not having that on the Xbox, or having like, an Xbox logo on a ship in the PlayStation server. I would understand why you may be making those cosmetics platform exclusive, but the rest of these, like these new weapon skins that we're getting, there's no reason to lock those down. If you looked at that, I would honestly think that's a PlayStation cosmetic if you're asking me what platform this goes with. They're like the PlayStation colors. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's something that I've been frustrated with. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts in the comments below. Why do you think these cosmetics are locked down? Are you okay with them being platform exclusive, or would you rather just all cosmetics be available on any of your accounts? Because I think the last point I'll make in this video is part of the frustrating part is with this is, let's say you are a new player, you've never played Sea of Thieves before, and you start playing Sea of Thieves on Battle.net. But then maybe, a couple months down the line or so, you decide, oh, I'm buying a PlayStation or I'm buying an Xbox, and I want to be able to play the game on that platform because I'm moving from PC to console or vice versa. Now you're in a situation where, oh, even if I rebuy the game and go on this other platform, I lose the cosmetics that I've grown accustomed to and that I like. So now it's like you don't want to move, you're locked down to having to play on this specific platform. I think it just removes a lot of the freedom. I made the argument that it could be pro-consumer in the sense that they're trying to encourage you not to keep rebuying the game. But at the same time, I think it's anti-consumer because you're locked down to a platform that you potentially don't want to play on anymore and maybe don't want to play on solely. And I hate it. I really just hate it. But let me know your thoughts on this situation in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, it'd be great if you left a like and subscribed. But until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye y'all.